Okay, welcome everyone to another episode of Uniting Distant Stars, Stars for Tomorrow podcast. I am Heather Cannon. I am the executive director and co-founder, and we're excited to have a guest on today, and I'm going to let Kevin do the rest.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name's Kevin Na. I've volunteered here at Uniting Distant Stars. I've been grateful to be able to be a volunteer since 2017. And as Heather alluded to a few moments ago, we do have a special guest here today. So the individual that's joining us today, I've had the privilege of working alongside the past couple years or so. He is the co-founder of Brilliant Minds, and he is also the media director at both Christ Triumphant Ministries and Ebenezer Community Church, none other than Minister G Trokon Richards.
Hey,
Welcome.
hey. Thank you for that introduction. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
sir.
Yeah.
But yeah, but before we go into, just a bit more of the conversation here, I'd like to, just give you a moment just to talk about your company, how that came about and, what you do as far as, your company there.
Well, so two things. Again, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to share here. The first thing, company was birthed out of two purposes. One, it was birthed out of the necessity that I wanted to have freedom of time to do what I get to do, because
Mhm.
the one who's hired you becomes the one that controls your time.
Right.
And one of the greatest freedom you can have to be effective is to be able to control your time. Even when, because I'm a Christian, so I would make some references to my Christian value.
Hmm.
One of the things that God did when He set the children of Israel free, one of the criteria He said, "Let my people go so that they may worship Me." So freedom is a foundation for worship, and not just for worship, but every other thing. And so I saw the need. My kids were growing faster than I could imagine. And I didn't have time to be around them to be able to support them in their different activity. Besides that, God has also gifted me with the gift of speaking, where I do conferences and other things. And so sometimes I tend to go across the globe. I will have some pushback like, hey, you can go for 2 weeks, you can go for this. So I'm like, I'm going to take a high jump.
Right.
And I did a high jump and I've been on it. So I've been working for myself for like 7 years. My company currently, I would say I've been running two companies. The first one is called Tryon Graphics, where we do everything media related. And then the new one that I just established, and I'm still working on a few more documentation, is called Training New Minds. And that one is specifically about mentoring the next generation of African leaders in the era of entrepreneurship, in the era of business, and in the era of digital skill. So that's my goal. And so I have started a cohort with some young people in Liberia, which I have done two already. One was in digital skills, and the second one was in entrepreneurship, which we just ended in July. In the beginning part of July, and we'll have our third cohort that is coming up for that group, and it's going to be in leadership, because I believe those are the things that are lacking in our community, especially Liberian community. We don't have a
Mhm.
system of mentorship, so people who are successful cannot in no way. Oh, people who are successful cannot in no. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yes,
we
we
can
can
hear
hear
you. You just,
Okay.
no,
Yeah,
mine.
someone try calling me as always. Someone always calling.
you.
So the gap is between those who are who profess to be successful. Most of our success system, our way to success in Liberia is not like a systemic thing that you can say, oh, he started from here, this is the pathway he got there. So it has to be some kind of way to get there. And
Mm-hmm.
so at the end of the day, we don't have that gap where the young people can look out and say, oh, this guy is a millionaire. How did he get there? Can you teach me? How can I get there? So we want to
Right.
bridge that gap. And that was the the need that I see in my community that I say I need to do training new minds. So it's a new venture. It's a hard jump, but I know it's going to be worthy.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that just kind of goes into some of the topics we've been discussing over the past few episodes here. As you mentioned, mentorship. And actually, I've mentioned, how you've kind of been a mentor to me, since I met you a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Just like, being able to show me things and, allowing me to learn things as well. I mean, even going back to earlier today, when you were showing me how to do the watermark for service, it's that kind of thing that we've been talking about. So
Indeed.
I wanted to find out from you, if you can think of maybe an individual or two that, was a mentor to you, when you were entering your field of interest.
Good. Over the years, I have had, I would say, three profound mentors, but I will stick with two.
Okay.
The first person has been my dad. My dad has
Mhm.
been a great mentor to me. And that's why I can trade nothing for him easily, because he was not just a dad that was available, but he was present. And
Mhm.
most of the skills, things that I'm utilizing today came from him, but it came from the religious side of
Right.
things. So I want you to know that. And then I had a second mentor who passed, I think, before the COVID or during the COVID. His name was Dr. Heather H.P. Barley. And Dr. Barley, when he studied at Harvard Business School, and he used to go back to Liberia. And that time I had a little business, what I used to do. And he took me under his wing as a executive secretary. And
Mhm.
in those moments, he was not the best person in terms of ethics, but he was a great person in terms of speaking, engaging, and negotiating. So through that, he was able to mentor me in that area. So now I've had two mentors that gave me two perspectives: the
Mhm.
religious perspective and the
Right.
corporate perspective.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so these guys play a great role in my life. Yes. The third person will be my mother, who always encouraged me. You know, mother and children, they always
Yeah.
see the good in you, even when you don't have the good. But
Mhm.
she has been one of the person. And so I'm just grateful to have these people in my corner. Lately, the fourth person I would say, lately when I was at Wells Fargo, there's another young man called Den Bush. Not young man, I just call him young man, but he's don't mind me when I say young man. They call him Den Boucher. He has ran what is the name, youth ministry in the Twin City for about 40 years. So he met me at the bank. He said, "Man, you look smart. I need to be your friend." And so he invited me. We had coffee, and after that, he's been there along with me. Once in a while, he will call me and check in with me, and we will sit. So far, that's the only mentor that I know that I can check in on me and ask me
Right.
what am I doing and something. So it's been that beautiful pathway. So I just appreciate that. But there is so much power in mentorship. It's
Yeah.
Mhm.
just so much more that comes along with it. In fact, it saves you a huge deal of time and mistake that you will make in life if you are diligently following the right pieces of advice that they are giving you, because a mentor will not want you to fail where he or
Mhm.
she has. So he or she
Right.
will give you his or her experience or experiences so that you can learn from it. Even though there are times we ourselves will want to tread our own path, but it's also good to listen to them.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, those personal stories. And yeah, it's great to see how, both,
Yeah,
like you said, you received both the religious
yeah,
perspective and the corporate perspective from two different individuals,
yeah.
as well as your mother as well. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. But I wanted to know, just given the current culture in Liberia, we're still talking about mentorship. Why, in your opinion, why do you think that maybe there's not such a desire to mentor the next generation or younger people?
Oh, there are a lot of things we can talk, but I want to stick with this philosophy that I have, right?
Okay.
There are two major reasons I believe. One is people don't know, and because they don't know, they can't do, right? You will
Right.
only do what you know. There are a lot of people, I'm not looking down on them, but the issue of mentorship is not something that is really talked about in Liberia. So a lot of people don't know about it. We
Yeah.
always tend to vent for ourselves. We always tend to navigate life the way we want to do it. And to the point that if you find out that most Liberians that are gifted, one of the greatest challenges they have in their giftedness, if that is a word, is the issue of discipline. Because when you have a mentor, it will help you with the issue of discipline. And so you will see a Liberian gifted, well versed in stuff, but discipline is an issue. That's why sometimes we don't move past certain level we should. And that's the first thing. And the second thing I would say, I believe that life has three stages. We have the preparatory stage where we learn from our environment, our parents, everything else.
Your audio's your audio's dropping.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Better?
Yep.
Okay. So we have, as I said, life. One philosophy I have that life has three stages. The first
Yeah.
stage is a preparatory stage, and what it does is that it prepares us from our environment, our culture, our relatives, our institution, our teacher, or our mentor. Then we move into what we call our performance stage, where we practice what we have learned. Then we move on to our third stage, which is called our transference stage, where we pass on our technical know-hows of what we have learned, practice, and experience. Now, but if you look at Liberia, especially for the civil crisis, there have been a
Hmm.
huge gap that most of the young people or most of the people now who are holding leadership position did not have the mentorship or the opportunity to be prepared well. And because they were not prepared well, they are performing or performing wrong. And definitely they are going to transfer wrongly. So the way to fix that, we have to prepare the next group of people well so that they can perform well and they can transfer well. Now, I will give an example of myself. When the Liberia civil crisis began, I was like probably 7 years old. I never traveled out of Liberia. I was there. I saw all of the scenery of the war. There's nothing you can tell me about the war that I don't know about. In fact, because I live it. When the war
Hmm.
subsided, I was just 19, going to 20. Then I graduated high school. When I graduated high school around age 20, then I went and got married at age 23. So imagine if God has not helped me. All I have seen in my life, in my childhood development, was all evil. I would have been practicing evil and I would definitely transfer evil. So,
Hmm.
but thank God that He interrupted my life and gave me the pathway that I can relearn, unlearn some of the things so that I can be a better performer and that I can transfer better. So the gap there is that Liberian, we don't have that system of mentorship. Two, because people have not have it, they don't know it, and because they don't know it, they don't do it. That would be my perspective on that.
And
Yeah.
for
Right. And
for our organization, our co-founder who's Liberian, who's been there all his life, he's big on mentoring. And so a big part of us is youth development because they are the future. And yes, there's been some bad examples. Yes, there has been. But there's also that hunger. They want to be better. They want to do better. And I think it is there. It's not as, yes, I agree, it's not as pronounced, but it is there. And I've been able to see it with our own students, our graduates from our vocational school, what some of them have been able to do since then and build up. Like you said, sometimes you stay at a certain level. And I think the other part is you're willing to share. And I think part of that is being a mentor is, are you willing to share? Are you willing to give that out? And that's something like Calvin and something he's been instilling in our instructors and our teachers. You have something, you're giving back is sharing your knowledge, sharing your experience, sharing your skill set. And I think it's twofold. It's people like they want to hold on to that information because they think, oh, if I give that away, I'm no longer relevant. And that could be ego, right? And
Yes.
so there has to be that willingness to say, hey, this is the future. How do we help them have a pathway? Because, like, yeah, you said you came out of war, and some children got caught up in the war, whether they were drugged and kidnapped, whatever. And sometimes they did it because they had no other options. And when you provide another pathway, it gives people a choice.
Envy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I mentioned this a few episodes ago, as maybe I likened it to how like here in the States, some schools will offer, elective classes like wood shopping or, any other extracurricular clubs or, courses where, young people can, gain these skills, like whether it's, with technology or, craftsmanship, things like that. So, and I think at the time I questioned, why maybe in the Liberian system or educational system that's not prevalent.
So I will speak to that in two ways. The first thing, before I became who I am to know myself, people who lived before me spoke about some of the good things that Liberia had, and
Mm-hmm.
I saw remnants of them. So, like the public school had those kind of thing where they would teach industrial life, education, like Tottenham had, like some of the government school. But
Mhm.
now the war came and threw that away. That's a good
Yeah.
thing to talk about. But after the war, we have had over 20 years of peace. The question has been, what have we done, or
Right.
what have we been working on to bring ourselves back to where we need to be, is where the problem is. So it's not impossible, it is doable. There are people that I've met who are passionate to do certain things, but the solo effort will not do much for a nation. If
Mm-hmm.
we build a
Right.
nation, we have to do it together. That's why we use the word team. I say together, everyone accomplishes much. If we
Yep.
bring all of our talents, our gifting, our expertise together, and institutionalize it, will easily impact the nation than if I am doing something in a solo way. Oh, I'm doing this because that's what I love, and I'm just going to do it. It will
Right.
it will pay off dividend, but it will be a long journey. Yeah, especially
Right.
for a nation. If you're just talking about family and like a little client, yeah, that's fine. But if you're talking about a nation, it has to be institutionalized. The first thing, there's no nation that rises above it in its educational system. The people that we have in our nation are the reflection of what is integrated into our curriculum. And so, if we address those things, those are things we need to start looking at how our curriculum is being reformed, what are policy, what are or what way can we or incentivize people so that they can have the passion to teach with all they had, and all of those things. There's so
Right.
much things that we can talk about in there. But the reason is that, one, the willpower is not there. People who transcend the power, their mindset is different. I will always say a leader is always passionate about what drives what he or she is passionate about. So if that leader passion is to see transformation, he or she will drive that. Have you been in meeting where you say 3 4 hours and you put a brilliant idea, and at the end of the day was discarded because
Mm-hmm.
that is not aligned with the leader's passion?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the big thing too, Kevin, in that case, since we have both vocational academic and our academic is doing vocational, is that the Ministry of Education is not where it needs to be to meet the moment.
Hmm.
And like G Trokon said, it's more going to happen in private institutions over the government institutions right now.
Hmm.
And because we have found, and I've shared this before, a lot of our young people are supporting themselves. So
Yeah.
teaching them skills so they're not selling in the market. Like we talked about earlier, the motorcycles is the number one deterrent right now because it's quick money,
Yeah.
but it's not safe money.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to be able to connect with the young people on, yeah, I don't want to be looking for handouts. I don't want to be broke. I want to have money. And so that's one thing Calvin always has to know how to pivot every new year, because there's a new challenge that we have to face in order to get people to come learn a skill, because then with a skill they can build. Motorcycles, you're not going to scale up.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a oversaturated market, as we've discussed in previous episodes.
Yes. Yes.
And just to catch you up a little bit, Brother Trokon. So I kind of likened it to how, like, take example Brooklyn Park here, like at least where I live more closely to, there are like at least two to five African stores all within less than a mile of each other, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe even like right next door. So
Mm-hmm.
there's like you have an oversaturated market where you're all competing for the same clientele. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're not really benefiting anyone by having that. So there needs to be some sort of differentiation.
Indeed, indeed, indeed,
Mm-hmm.
there has to be. And so, yeah, so as I said earlier on, there are a lot of things that need to be put into place to bring that thing to the public square, in Liberia. One of them will be policy issue where we talk about the Ministry of Education. Then we're looking at enforcement. There are other things that we can do to enforce certain things. Like in America, you have a law that no child left behind. And with that law, even if a child left home, the school is going to call your child is not in school. They're going to report that. We don't have the kind of system that will hold people accountable. And so, as I said, it's doable. It can be done. It just based on what leader we have. If we have a
Right.
leader that is that is focused in our area, it will not take us no time. We will get there. If in the next 100 years we get leaders that are not passionate in that area, in the next 100 years we'll not have it. So the shorter distance to
Yeah.
achieve anything are the people we put in policy making area or leadership.
And someone who
And
wants to invest in education, I think we've seen in the US sometimes we've kind of pulled back on investing in education because we don't think investing in the young people has value, but that's the future. And I think that has to be a mindset shift.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of countries are like, oh, that's too expensive, but we're in a new world. You brought up the digital stuff and things like that. We have AI now.
Oh yeah.
And if we're not teaching people what the real world is, they're not going to compete.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So you do a lot of, you talked about digital, and one of the things, we try to get into tech stuff, but one of the biggest challenges, well, two, electricity is one, but we have solar. So we took care of that one.
Thank
The
you.
next one is reliable internet.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the ways that I try to help, thank God for Elon Musk's innovation for bringing Starlink. So what I did, I got a Starlink and drop it off there, to be able to help with that because data is a huge issue, especially in Liberia. So
right.
yeah, if you get a Starlink, so one of the things I'm working towards, because everyone that I've trained, they're in different areas, so they come online virtually. But I want to set up a center, even if I have 25 computers, I can have an internet service there where they go and we have the classes, they have time to practice. That
Mm-hmm.
way, it takes the burden off the shoulder of trying to get data, of not
Mm-hmm.
having city and all of those things. So opportunities are created in different ways, and one of the people who are noted for creating opportunities are entrepreneur. The government will set the policy, but entrepreneur creates the opportunity. And so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in a place where we can see the opportunity and create, even if we don't see them, we should see the need and create the opportunity for those who may not have that opportunity given to them. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as with you were talking about a center with a computer center. What have you seen as far as accessibility, as far as those resources when it comes to those who are interested, when they join or when they come on board?
So it's been a good thing. One of the things I have seen from the things that I run, um, the ladies has a lot of challenges. Because my philosophy, one of my philosophies in life is start small and expand.
Hmm.
Because I'm of the nature that everything that God wanted to make big was the earth. That what the earth is now expanding beyond what it is. But everything else that He created, He started small and He allowed it to grow. We were zygote, we became what it is, babies, and today we are full human. So
Right.
the reason is that we can see a traceable route from where we start or where we started and where we are heading. And so I told them I'm not looking for 30, 40%. My goal in my lifetime, if I can train and develop a million Liberian young people, I would appreciate God if He gives me that opportunity. But I want to
Hmm.
start small. And I started with 10. And with the 10, I have few ladies there, and they would every time they have excuse. Because why? Our nation had nurtured a system that once you are lady, you are beautiful, you should be able to get your way easily because of your beauty. So it does not put them in a place that they need to develop skill and compete. And
Hmm.
some of these people will reach out to me. They will say, "Oh, I don't have data to be on today," but they will text me and say, "Oh, I need help at this, that." But I'm telling you, and to admit, one of the people that sit in those classes, I also offer weekly compensation for them. Who does that? Just to encourage them to do that, to
It's a
be on,
rarity.
but still not make use of that. And so
Mm.
it's a sad thing. And I hope that we can encourage. And I will tell the guys, I say, hey, reach out to the ladies, encourage them, let them come on board and learn. But still, so yeah, I think the culture has done a lot of damage, which can
Hmm.
be repaired, but we have to be truthful about repairing the damage. We can see the damage and still try to play around with it and think it's going to get fixed. No.
Well, and I think, again, I don't want to overgeneralize because we've had a lot of women come through our school, computers, electrician, plumbing, they've gotten jobs.
Yeah.
So I know that, yes, there is a thing that can be stigmatized against women, but there's a lot of women that end up being single mothers because someone promised something and didn't fulfill, and they know they have to step up and do what they need. So usually the challenges we see that are legitimate challenges, the same ones we see with women here, would be transportation or childcare. That's one of the things. And one of the reasons why we added our academic school, besides the community wanting it, was also that if they wanted to put their kids in our school, they could, because they're learning and their kids are learning, because I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, we definitely encourage women, and we do have them come through all our technical courses because we really don't want them to be pigeonholed into certain trades.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to talk a little tech a little bit, because I know that's kind of your your one of your favorite areas. So what are some things currently and some things that you're maybe looking forward to implement? So one, what's something current that you're using that you enjoy using, as far as on your day to day, and something that you're looking forward to hopefully implementing one day?
So one of the things I have been enjoying technology for a very long time, since 2003. So I've seen the evolution to where it is, and
Hmm.
follow through with almost everything. I enjoy the AI realm. Um, it's not strange to me because the reason why I say it's not strange to me, some of the things that I see happening, I did some courses at North Hennepin and I wrote an article more than 7, 8 years ago talk about when people become techno sapiens. So I was using the word homo sapien, which means thinking being. I said when
Mm-hmm.
Right.
people become techno sapiens, the world is going to be at a detrimental state. And we see that happening rapidly. Then I was just writing, I didn't even know what I was writing about. But now I see it. So currently I'm writing a book specifically on that. When people become techno sapient, life become irreversible, advancement become irreversible, relationship become, there are a lot of things, So I'm happy about that. I want to see Liberia. In fact, when I started doing some of the digital training in Liberia, with the young people, they were like, "These things are available. We don't know about it." I was like, "Yeah, these things
Mhm.
are common." And so, if I have the power to do something, there is something I want to develop called the village school. And the village school is just simple. It's just called the village school, or it's called DG's village. So the result of it, we build institutions that look no different from what they have there with local materials and everything, but we have all the latest technology available, especially educational technology available, that they can still enjoy the culture, the beauty of the culture, and experience the technological advancement that will help them be innovator and creator of a new space and new things that will be appreciated globally. And so one of the assets to that would be power to electricity, power to internet, and power to also electronic library. I'm the person that I don't I don't want to think about having a library that has books sitting in it, but I want to have a center where a kid can go and just use their phone or the laptop there and have access to millions of books, and not just having book to that, but then also can have a virtual playground where they can develop things, implement them, feel them, touch them, because the only way we will transform Liberia and Africa at large is when we start building our own thing. Because anything you build, you can maintain. Anything you can build, you can maintain. And that has been a challenge. And my hope and pleasure, if I have the opportunity, which I'm trusting God to have, that we will allow people, we will create a space where places where young people, young mind can develop things, can develop idea, like an idea in what is the incubator, where we can support them, fund them, and they come up with solution that can be used nationally and globally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's all awesome. And then I definitely could relate to what you said earlier about AI, because I'm actually, it wasn't probably about a couple weeks ago. Because usually like when I write an email, I'll, kind of think on it a little bit, like kind of like, okay, does it sound okay, like grammatically and everything like that. Then I was talking to one of my managers at work, and she's like, "Have you used Copilot?" I'm like, "No, I haven't. I mean, I know what Copilot is, I just hadn't really, taken the time to use it." So I indulged. Did like, "Hey, can you review my email for grammatical errors and whatnot?" So I popped it in there, and most times when I use it, it's like, "Well, you've already got a professionally written out email, but here's a few minor changes to it." So it's kind of like at times that it's like I feel like relying on my own intellect to do it, but then there's just like a little bit of reliance on
Indeed.
uh eh, technology. But it just goes back to what you were saying about how we're just becoming so used to relying on technology to do almost everything. And
Yeah.
and not
Well,
to
I'm
say that like, oh, sorry, go
not
ahead.
relying. I would say I like technology. I'm a tech geek. And so I've
Oh
been
yeah.
doing AI now for 2 years, started on ChatGPT, but now we got Copilot at work and I have Copilot for UDS. And you can analyze two spreadsheets together instead of you having to build a formula. You just put them in there. It helps. I'm trying to make it my virtual assistant now for UDS. So it's been doing more stuff for me. But I look at it this way. There's the work that people want to do, and sometimes there's the work that people don't want to do. So if
Yes.
AI can take away that ugly stuff and you
Yeah.
can focus on the stuff you want to do, I don't think it's bad. And again, you still have to proofread it. You still have to,
Right.
make whatever tweaks. You can't
Oh
just
yeah.
rely on it 100%, but it can take some of that busy work away that can kind of deter you from something more important.
Yeah, and I was actually using ChatGPT last week to, just get a brief rundown on a few terms that I was researching, and I saw a little disclaimer at the bottom that said ChatGPT is not always correct. I'm just like, wow, they're just like blatantly just telling you
Well,
that.
Yeah, they
I'll
need
tell
to
you
be
what, you challenge it. I always knew about smell, no taste. So I was
Mhm.
just trying to find some articles, and Chat GPT says I needed to go to Google. So there's it doesn't know the whole world yet, so it's not
Right.
going to be able to answer every question. But I just
well,
wanted to see what was out there.
it will start to know the entire world when we have Neuralink become, because that's the last level or the highest level of technology that we're moving towards. It's called singularity, where you have technology and human being, like one, you can differentiate between them because they're thinking like the Neuralink stuff that what's his name has brought.
Oh,
Um,
I'm not going there. That's like going to iRobot
A
or
bit too
HAL
much,
on
a bit
Space
too
Odyssey
futuristic.
2001. Nope, we've
so
gone too
eventually
far
it's
there.
coming, but the beautiful, I mean, the interesting thing, I don't want to say the beautiful thing because there is different level of powers that come into place, right? And one of the level of power is the power is the issue of control. So people who develop those things, what they're looking for, they're not looking for wealth. They are wealthy. They are looking for control.
Hmm.
So um, that's why you think, I don't want to talk down on anybody, but why you think Bill Gates want to have the largest farmland as a single person? It's because he want to control. Because once he get food and there is food shortage, he has you. And so it's the era of control that we see because it's a competing market. Everybody want to have
Mhm.
control, and all of those things. But I would say to us and to people in other parts of the world, let's use AI and other technological tools that are available to us as a superpower to shorten some time that we have wasted, I would say, and then focus on the things that are so dear to you and passionate that you can do, and leave the rest with technology to do them.
Yeah,
Well, and
very good.
again, for good, because
Yeah.
again, it can be waged either way. And I want to control the machine and not have the machine control me. And I think that's where I think the line has to be, because
Well, right now we are having a machine asking us to check some boxes to know if we are human.
I know.
That is true.
That I know, because we have to verify if we're human, but I mean, I don't have any smart appliances or anything. I don't want anything talking to me. I have
Right.
certain boundaries that I want to control. So yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll just end on this. So I'm sure we know that there are a few automated cars out there, and I've gone on record saying this, and I think the first time I saw one was when I was in New York a few years ago. I actually saw the car driving itself, and I'm just like, because I was with my family, I'm just like, yeah, if I'm like not like, can you imagine like if I'm not in control, like I'd rather be in control of like a car myself than trust, just like a system to drive properly. But it's an interesting thought when you think about it. But this just kind of got me thinking about an old movie on Disney Channel. I think it's like the early 2000s called Smart House. So this kid and his family, they move into this smart home built by this, billionaire, and then all of a sudden things start going haywire. So it just kind of brought back memories of like, all those futuristic movies and things like that. But yeah, just grateful for the conversation we've been able to have here
Yes.
today. Again, Brother Trokon, thank you so much for making time out of your busy schedule. And trust me, I know what his days be like. So just thank you so much for taking time out of your afternoon to chat with us here today.
Thank
Okay.
you so
Thank you so
much.
much. I really appreciate you. People keep calling me. That's the problem. Uh,
No
See,
problem.
there
I,
it is.
I'm so
No,
grateful for the opportunity, to be able to come on. Yeah, it's
no, we
beautiful.
appreciate your time.
Yeah, and you guys keep up the good work. One of the ways that we can effect change is to communicate change, and the way we
Right.
Yes.
communicate it is to have conversation, bigger conversation, larger conversation, expanded conversation. Just keep growing the conversation, because what you're doing, you're creating more awareness, and it will
Right.
attract someone, and it will help change the way they think, the way they see things, the way they behave, and we could be one of the we could be in one of the ancestral lines of change, of global change. Yeah. When they're looking at the people who
Absolutely.
did things, like, oh yeah, Kevin was this place, he did this, and today we have this, right? That's what it's gonna
Yeah.
be.
Hey,
Yeah.
one
Yes.
day, from your
Yeah.
lips to God's ears,
Yeah. But
hopefully.
Heather, it's
But
great. It's great meeting you. I heard about you
Yes,
from
very
one of
nice
my
meeting
friends.
you.
I heard about your organization through one of my friends long time, about 3-4 years ago, when we are talking about
Okay.
things about Liberia. They call him Othello Collins. I don't know if you know him. But he asked me, do
Yes.
you know about connecting distance stars? I like, no. And then he told me a little bit, and that was about 3, 4, I think about 5 years ago when he and myself spoke.
Okay.
Yeah, so that
Yeah,
means you making that means you are making little impact. So
We
Um,
are
mhm.
now 12 years old. We
Yeah,
definitely started small.
that's it. Yeah, but thank you so much for having me, and I hope you guys enjoy your evening.
We
And you
will,
as well,
thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, I have some announcements. First of all, this weekend we closed out the 24-25 school year. Our academic students will be off until September. And with that, this coming school year, we'll have our first 12th grade students. The school we started in 2018 started from kindergarten to sixth grade, and then it's just slowly built up. Even though we made it a high school a couple of years ago, we decided we wanted our students to grow into the 12th grade because there are problems in the education system out there, and sometimes people are bribing teachers and stuff like that. And if we brought someone in at 12th grade from a different school, we didn't want them to corrupt what we've been trying to build. And, now if we have lots of students and someone comes in, it's kind of hard for one person to do that. So we really wanted to be mindful because the students feel at home, they treat UDS as family. So we're pretty excited to have our 12th grade students. The other thing is, check out our blog posts. Had a few posts this last month about what our students are doing on the vocational side, where they're progressing. Also, some of our computer students got to attend a blockchain event in Liberia because we're looking at what blockchain can do to improve maybe some of the things that people worry about in corruption. Again, basically all governments have some sort of corruption, but this is supposed to help change that. So they had an opportunity for that. We have our next virtual tea time on 8/16. Kevin, you want to give a plug on why you like that?
Yeah, so I actually the last virtual T10 that we had was my first one, and I had got the privilege to meet the your co-founder, Mr. Calvin Famba. I've heard about him for a while, but just being able to, meet him and just be able to talk with some of the students there it was really fun, just to take the time to do that. So
Thank you.
if you are able to join and you see that, I would definitely take advantage.
Yes, it is fun. It's my favorite event. And then the Tamba Foundation fundraiser for us was going to be in June, but we moved it to August 23rd. And with that, if you attend and donate, we will have a bonus gift for you. So that's something we're going
Ooh.
to add to the fund. So that's a real event. That'll be a real in-person event. And basically, it's just vocational training will continue, and the next school year will start in September. And just keep listening, subscribing, and we'd love to hear from you.
Oh, yeah, and so just before we go here, so next week, Saturday is actually
Oh,
Liberia's
yes.
Independence Day.
Yes.
So if you're, listening to this after, because it's going to be a minute before our next episode, so just want to give a shout out to and a happy Independence Day to Liberia, and all the Liberians out there. Happy Independence Day.
Yes, definitely. We're gonna actually, this is gonna, yeah, air the week after. So yes, so happy Independence Day to everyone. We know that there's communities within Minnesota, Rhode Island, Maryland, Pennsylvania, I think Staten Island. There are many
Ohio.
communities out there. Yeah, so I hope you can join into the festivities there. I know there'll be stuff definitely going on in the country.
Oh yeah, because one thing
Yes.
we know how to party.
Yes. Well, aren't they doing a parade this year in Brooklyn Center?
I did hear about that, but unfortunately, I'm going to be in Denver uh,
Oh,
next week. So unfortunately, I'm gonna be out of the state, but I'm gonna carry my jersey with me and rep over there.
there you go. All right, everyone. Again, this will go live on August 2nd, so we'll be recording again before our September one.
Right. And like Heather said, if you'd like to follow us, you can go to the website. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Am I missing something? I don't think
Facebook
so.
and
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, Facebook and LinkedIn. There's so many social media platforms. I'm sure we're probably going to add a couple more somewhere along the
I'm
way.
not,
But
someone else has to run it. I'm not doing
oh,
it.
oh yeah. I mean,
My
I'm just saying, like,
bandwidth
once
is
we like
already
as it grows, someone will be able
okay.
to like, hey, we need to take. No, trust me, I know it's yeah, because I went to a tech and gospel summit yesterday with Brother Trokon and another one of his
Okay.
colleagues. We were having one at Ebenezer yesterday, and
Okay.
he during one of his sections he did mention, it's all well and good if you have all these platforms, but if you don't have anyone to run it, it's like,
Yep.
what's really the point?
That's it. Because everybody goes, oh, you got to get a TikTok. Nope, not running it. I don't have the
Yeah,
bandwidth, don't have the
yeah,
time.
exactly.
That one
Yeah, you
definitely
already
has to
know.
be a young person, one doing
Oh
it.
yeah, well, you already know how I feel about TikTok, so I'll defer to another individual
Yeah,
who
that won't be
likes
you.
TikTok.
I know that. I know that. So that's two of us out. So yeah.
Yeah,
But
no,
no,
but like
this
I
is
said, the team will grow. So
it will. It will. It will. Well, this was great, and thank you for bringing the guests on today. And you and I will connect on what our next topic will be. And thank you for everybody who's supporting us and watching.
yeah, we appreciate you guys.
All right.
Happy Independence Day. We'll see you later.
Yep. Take care.